Oh, we did it. Yeah, we did. Delayed 3 different times, waited well over a year, but we are here and God was it worth it. Welcome to my channel. My name is Wyatt Earp. You know, when I didn't like the Snyder Cut Justice League version, everyone got all, you're just a hater because you were a Marvel fanboy. And I was like, no, I just didn't like the movie. Didn't think it was a good movie. Then I walk out of Black Widow in the theater, just jacked to the tits on everything. And I think, am I a Marvel fanboy? I don't know the answer to that, but what I do know is I love the movie, but Black Widow wasn't all sunshine and tight leather outfits. This movie certainly had some misses. Let's talk about them with the good, the bad, and the ugly, with spoilers because it's on Disney Plus and the subscription price is literally less than a movie ticket. So
you do the math.
Just found out that they want $30 on top of the subscription, so I'd like to apologize for my previous comments. Spoke a little too soon. I'm still including spoilers, I just don't have a justification for it. Here we go. The good. This movie had a hell of an opener. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't feel like Marvel is known for their opening sequences. This one was very engaging, and really the first 30 minutes of this movie is a good lesson on how to do a sci-fi or fantasy movie. A huge problem that exists with the genre is what's called an info dump, where characters or backstory are thrown at you in large chunks to help you understand what's happening. It's considered lazy writing, but you have to get this information to the audience somehow to help them understand everything that's going on in the story. And this movie has a ton of info dumps, but they didn't rip me out of the movie. Other things did, but not the info dumps. And I'm willing to admit it could just be personal preference because Black Widow has always had a really mysterious hush-hush background that when they're throwing info at me at Mach Jesus speeds in this movie, I'm just happy to be invited to the party. Meaning I will sit here and be quiet if you just tell me more. And that's really what we got top to bottom with this. A lot of thoroughly filled in gaps emotionally through story development. And one of the scenes where I personally fell in love with this was at the dinner table when they're all reunited again. The subtle pain in the sister's face is amazing and they never linger on her face. They let you feel pretty masterfully that she's being hurt by what's being said while constantly cutting away to different characters and finally talking about the cause of that pain at the end of the scene. I loved how they let us just sit in it, like how it would actually happen in a lot of family dynamics, which brings me to the dialogue. Everyone has pretty great dialogue, but everything said between the sisters was next level chemistry, and it set up perfectly for Florence Pugh's character to steal the show. Is she now my new favorite character in the Marvel Universe? I don't know how to say yes harder. I want her to get a movie franchise, TV series, book deal, maybe? Who knows? A guy can dream, huh? Let me dream. Oh, wait. Well, that was fast. Anyways, the comedy was outstanding. Takes a little while to get to it. The first 30 to 45 minutes is some real heavy shit, like, you know, human trafficking and mind control murder. But when you get past that, it's practically a comedy for the next hour. And somehow that doesn't feel jarring to the tone. I don't know how they do that any more than I know how they get away with the info dumps. But again, daddy want. The comedy. Not the human trafficking. Lastly, as always with Marvel movies, the action. Not huge on the explosions and the get to the chopper type stuff, but the real basic hand-to-hand fight sequences are masterful and well choreographed. Just like how I choreographed telling you to like and subscribe. I'm either getting better at this or I'm getting way, way worse, and we'll never know which one it is. Now we have the bad, and I would say that logistically, they missed the mark on a few things. Just some things that seem nonsensical. For one, this tank that comes out of literally thin air could have been a magic trick the way they introduced it. Then the very poorly planned age timeline of the daughter. She's 10 in this scene and 40 in this one, but only like 10 to 12 years have passed in real time. Then early on, Natasha gets to a trailer in the middle of nowhere. She walks in real ominous and suspenseful as if there's someone in there that she might have to kill. And yes, someone is in there, but it's her friend. That's not an issue. My question is, how did he get there? She just drove up this Norwegian waterfall 20 miles from town. It tells you that's how far away the trailer is from anything, and there's only her vehicle in the middle of this field, so how did he get there? And by the way, when the guy leaves, he just takes off walking, like into the woods. Hey, all the writers had to do was cut the tension scene of her walking into the trailer and put another car in the driveway. That's all you had to do, and you should have done, because I don't know how he got there, but I can tell you this, he didn't walk. And there were little things like this throughout. One time they're in this house that's being raided and the dad, the Red Guardian, stands in this window and takes like 87 darts to the chest. Not 2 seconds later, the daughter stands up and nothing happens. It's like all of a sudden that window's not there and there's not people outside of it trying to kill them. You know, logistical issue. Those are not the only issues, but the biggest one is going to be in the ugly section of this review, because when it was happening, I couldn't even focus on the movie. It was a lot. Rounding out this section of the review, though, was the very end of the movie. It got super touchy-feely family-ish, like from every direction. Them with their parents they haven't seen in 20 years, the sister with her merry band of misfit murderers, Natasha with the Avengers. It was just a little too much. Loved the family dynamics of the movie, but they could have taken 20 to 40% off the top of those end scenes, to the point where I would make a Dominic Toretto joke here, but I'm sure I'm not the first one to do it, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to let you know that I could, but I won't. But I could. Now the ugly. And to beat a dead horse about the logistics again, when the Sky Castle falls to the ground, I'm not a scientist or a physicist. I'm barely a person, but I'm pretty positive when you're in something that's free falling from 30,000 feet, you can't just run around like nothing's happening. Wouldn't something happen? Wouldn't gravity be suspended or turn into one of those planes that make you feel like you're in space? I don't know, but I do know you can't do all of this. I know you can't do all of this, and that's what matters to me right now. So someone out there who's smarter than me can leave a comment about what would actually happen, as long as we all agree that it wouldn't happen the way that it did in the movie. And lastly, the timing of it. The release of the movie, I mean. I do wish this came out sooner. It feels like it's holding on to something that once was, because the world that this movie exists in is long gone. Endgame came out well over 2 years ago, and I get they were supposed to release it in 2020, but that still would have been more than a year past when Endgame came out. And it's about events that happened 5 years ago after Civil War. So it just seems like poor timing. Love it nonetheless, but it'll be one of those movies that ends up on a weird spot in the what order should I watch the Marvel movies in list. Now, final thoughts on this. I saw it in theaters, and it's so cool the reputation that Marvel movies have. At the end of the movie, not a single person got out of their seat because they know what's coming. People are so willing to sit through 10 minutes of credits to get an extra 30 seconds, and I think that really says a lot about a brand. So from a business perspective, I respect the hell out of what's been built there. Overall, as I said, I love this movie. It has its problems, but none of them were movie ruining, just sometimes jarring. As far as rating this, people can be mad, but 8 out of 10. I want an 8 out of 10, and I'm gonna get it because this is my channel and I'm Lord Emperor Ruler here. But 8 out of 10 for a superhero movie, keep in mind. You're not going to go compare this to a David Fincher movie, but you know exactly what you're going to get when you show up to a Marvel movie, and they delivered there like they always do. So that's it. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate the subscribe. It helps me out, obviously, and liking the video tells YouTube that I'm not a piece of shit, and then they go shove it down other people's throats. So if you want to help me out there too, I'd appreciate it. See you next time.